Whew. All right. That's about as clean as those are going to get. God damn it. I wonder if anybody's going to show up this morning. We'll see. Just got to melt off the ends of this paracord. We're going to start with some Uwara this morning, and then we'll get on to the custom orders and some other weirdness. I got those candy cane steaks behind me, as you can see. For some reason, the clear coat on those candy cane steaks is taking forever to finish drying completely. I don't know what's going on with that. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Finishing Work. Just cutting and melting the ends of this paracord. Then I will get started. What's everybody up to this morning? What's up, Jacques? How you doing? No, I can't. Everybody always asking me to say words. Everybody's always on here asking me, oh, I gotta cut that. Everybody's always on here like, say this word, say that word, do a kick flip. I'm not a performing monkey. What am I doing, Jack? I work on a shop called Warrior Wooden Props. I make practice weaponry and custom stuff. I do like prop weapons, stuff like that. Mostly weaponry. I do other stuff every now and then, but for the most part, I make weird weapons. And this morning I've got these are oak Uwara. These are used in martial arts, mostly karate, judo, jiu-jitsu. Some Filipino martial arts use them as well. They get corded up in the middle here. Your fingers go in, and it's a extension of your fist. Do I like the smell of my own stink? I don't know there, Matthew. Not particularly. I don't really go around smelling myself all that often, but An interesting question. That was your opener, really? That's what you went with? Your opener was, do you like the smell of your own stink? I bet you're fun to have in conversations. Yeah, I forgot to clean my hands. Should probably do that before I continue. All right, hang on. If I can get this one tied up at least. How long do I do what? The live, or just how long have I been doing this? My live usually goes for a couple hours. I've been running this shop for about 3 years now. Hang on, let me clean my hands off here. But yeah, this shop's been around for about 3 years. I've been making weaponry for, God, forever. I originally started doing it when I was young, because I studied martial arts, but my family did not have a lot of money, so a lot of times if I needed like a bokken or a bow staff or something for martial arts class, I had to make it myself with stuff that I could find that was less expensive. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate that. All right. So I got 4 more of these to get corded up. And then I'm doing, I've got a couple of custom war clubs that we got to finish up this morning. I've got a Rudis trophy sword that we're going to handle wrap. And I've got these candy cane stakes behind me that you see. Those candy canes are actually vampire stakes. They are sharpened on the end. I'm going to give them a cool little green handle cord wrap underneath the crook. Been working. Tell you what though, when I said I would make candy cane vampire stakes, I really, or weapons really, they're not really vampire stakes, they just look like sharpened candy canes. I thought it would be very simple. These were hard as hell to make, you guys. Like, I don't know why they were so hard to make. They shouldn't have been. Getting those stripes on there though, and then I had to do a clear coat on them, and the clear coat for some reason is taking forever to dry. Like, I used a new kind of paint that was recommended to me for sealing stripes, and it's called 1K, and it's good paint, but for some reason on this it's taking forever. You have your own YouTube channel, Jacques? That's cool. No, Orange, I don't make bows. Like, I make bow stabs, but I don't make bows like for archery. That's a pretty, I find that making bows is a pretty specialized skill, and there are a lot of very talented people out there that are already making bows, and I don't feel that any bow I would make would be any better than what they're making already, and definitely wouldn't be cheaper, because I don't really have the expertise or know-how to just make a bow. I could probably make one, but I don't think it would be as nice as what's already available out there. Where am I from, Jacques? That is a complicated question. Currently, I am in Florida, on the Gulf Coast of Florida, South Florida in the United States. I moved around a lot as a kid. I went to like 13 schools in 12 years, so it's hard to really say I'm from anywhere. I was born in a little tiny town in Oklahoma called Yukon. Left there when I was about 9 or 10 years old, never really went back, so except to see like my grandmother. That's really the only, ooh, I've made that one way too tight. So yeah, no, I don't really ever say. Usually when people ask me where I'm from, I just say Texas, because I spent a good chunk of my life in Texas. But that's if I don't want to have to explain it, that's the easy answer. You're from, oh, Belgium, nice. That explains the Jacques name. All right. Hey guys, let me put these up. I gotta go wipe down some stuff that's over here behind me. I'll be right back. You guys can still see me though. got a bunch of weapons over here that I gave their second coat of tung oil this morning. And I guess got to wipe them down so there's no bubbles or anything in the tung oil. I sold out of my Shoto short sword bokken almost this week. I've only got one left in stock, so I made a couple of those. I'm gonna wipe these down. All of my bokken and wasters are guaranteed in my shop. If they break when they're not supposed to break, I replace them free of charge. You don't have to send the return or anything. You just have to send me a picture, tell me how it broke so I can figure out if it was a mistake in the grain or a mistake in the design. Because if it's a mistake in the grain, that's no big deal, that happens. But if it's a mistake in design, I want to be able to identify it so that I can change the design so that it's more durable. I've had that guarantee on my shop for the last 3 years, and I've only ever had to replace one. And honestly, that time it still was user error, but I took pity on the guy. So, because he was kind of new at doing sword practice and didn't really know what he was doing, and was using the wrong kind of practice dummy. Your real name is that? That's interesting. I'm still not saying the word there, Jacques. And then I made an Atasi War Club, Cherokee War Club a couple weeks ago. It sold this week, so I made another one. This is the paddle design. It's made out of American hickory. So that one will go back up on the shop. That'll be back in stock later today. And this is another Rudis trophy sword. I've got one already in stock, but I tend to sell these around the holidays, so I figured probably making a second one wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, this isn't meant for sparring. This is mostly meant for display as a trophy or a gift. And I'm going to set this one back over here until it's time to do the handle. I don't want to get that one messed up. And all this other stuff is already sold. This is a Hawaiian rosewood war club. That's going to get a nice little handle wrap this morning. And I got this Tongan War Club. Has another custom. This one's going to get a handle wrap, and it's going to get a little loop in the bottom for the wrist. It's got a little hole in it for that. That's Ipe or ironwood. Got about a 3,500 pound force Jenka hardness. Pretty hard stuff. All right, see you later, Jacques. Thanks for hanging out with me. And then we got this Atasi War Club. He wanted a handle wrap on this one. So this one's going to get a handle wrap. That's one he did not want a handle wrap, actually. That's right. The custom order on that one, he didn't want a handle wrap. So that one's not getting a handle wrap. That's just getting a loop. These two are getting handle wraps this morning. That one's just getting a loop. This is canary wood. This is a Cherokee War Club design. It's a little smaller version. I have a longer version of this in my shop's inventory right now on eBay. But that one's made out of American hickory. I think that's everything. Is it? Yes, it is. Woohoo! All right. I do not live off of selling wooden weapons. No, I do not. This is one of 3 jobs actually that I have right now. During the week, I work for a company called Artistic Illusions. We do home renovations, art, furniture restoration, stuff like that. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Jacob, welcome. The clubs, I mean, they're for collectors. I have people that are collectors, martial artists, different. Most of my custom orders, like this kind of stuff that are like custom weapons, they usually go to collectors. They sometimes go to museums that just want a replica of a museum piece. I make a lot of museum piece replicas. You know, if they want to have a replica of a piece that they can have just for display purposes, just as an example, or something that people can handle and touch without destroying the museum piece, they will send me a picture and dimensions of the museum piece, and I'll make it. You'd be surprised how many weapons are in museums, you guys. Holland, hey, you're Dutch, huh? That's all right. I won't hold being Dutch against you. I'm just kidding. Hey, what's up, cool kid? Welcome back. All right. This is another palm stick. This is my shop's design. My shop's the only shop that sells this design. It's got a taper in the center for the palm so that when you grip it, it pulls it tighter into your palm. You get a much better grip that way, a lot less slippage. Oddly enough, I don't sell a whole lot of these on eBay for some reason. Back when I was on Etsy, I sold a lot of them, but I haven't sold too many on eBay. I don't know why. I don't really spend much on promotion on eBay, and I think that's why it doesn't show up a lot in the search results. Oh, my third job. So my third job, I am an author, actually. I'm a contract book writer for Penguin Random House on mythology. I write mythology books. I've published about 16 books in my career. I think 17 is about to come out here pretty soon. I'm a mythologist. Being a mythologist doesn't pay great, but I get to write books every now and then. Hey, Jose, welcome back. Good to see you. So there we go. We got all the palm sticks done. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about these candy cane sticks. Because I don't know why they're still sticky. They shouldn't be sticky. They've been sitting for like 3 days. They should be dry. I don't know what's going on with that. Like button, do it. Thanks, Jose. All right, people. Let's see. I'd say that's 2 feet. Close enough. All right, forgive me. I'm gonna do something gross. Because the hole on this Tongan War Club is very small. There we go. Come on, go through. Get in there, you little bastard. Oh, that's weird. Oh. Well, that could be a problem. Let's see. Do I have a... Huh. There is something blocking the hole here. I'm gonna need a needle of some kind. Hang on one sec, guys. Where is that? I wonder what's blocking the hole. Where am I from? Why does everybody always ask me where I'm from? I'm not really from anywhere. I'm not. I moved around a lot. Let's see. I don't know if these needles are going to be thin enough to get through this hole, but we're going to find out. Oh, I see. A little glob of tung oil got stuck in the hole there. Well, that's an easy fix. Thank goodness it wasn't something more serious. Wipe that off. But not really from anywhere there, Jacob. I'm a bit of a nomad, so I've moved around most of my life. Like I was saying earlier, I normally just tell people I'm from Texas if they ask, because that's the easiest answer to that question. Spent most of my life in Texas, even though I'm not there now. Been in Florida for about, I don't know, 13, 14 years. There we go. Yeah, the client did not want a handle wrap on this, which is kind of sad. I actually like how the handle wrap works on this Ipe, but they want it plain, so that's what they're getting. When did I start with woodwork? God, probably when I was, honestly, I started at like 3. My grandmother's husband, when I was a kid, he was my second grandpa, her second husband, I should say. I called him Papa. But he had a little shop, and he would occupy me in his shop, I should say. A lot of times he would do things that I now realize were just meant to keep me busy. Like, he would give me a piece of wood and a piece of sandpaper and tell me to sand the wood until no sawdust came off, which as an adult I found out is impossible. So, but as a kid I didn't know that, so I would sand wood in his shop for hours. It's probably why I'm a little OCD about sanding as an adult. All right. And now we got this, but I started, as far as making like weaponry, I probably started doing that around the age of 9. I mean, like when I was like 5, I made a crossbow out of some sticks, masking tape, some rubber bands, and a clothespin. It worked pretty well until I shot my little brother in the ass with it. It didn't hurt him. It was, but my grandmother took it away. So, so I don't know. I've always kind of had an interest in weaponry, in melee weaponry, anyways, ever since I was a child. But probably about 9 or 10 was when I really started making. I did a lot of martial arts growing up. My family didn't have a lot of money, so if I needed, you know, a bokken or a bow staff or nunchucks or something like that for my martial arts classes, I had to basically find scraps. I did a lot of dumpster diving, and I would find scraps and make what I needed myself. Do I only work with woods? No, I work with all kinds of stuff, man. I work with resin, I work with plastics, I work with foam, cloth, you know, because I make props as well. I don't just make weapons, but you know, I work with all kinds of materials. Mostly wood, but I also work with, every now and then I work with metals as well. Not like a blacksmith or anything, but I sometimes have to embed, you know, spikes or nails or blades into items for custom orders. Get up there, you. There we go. Shozy, how you doing this morning? Thanks for coming back. Always nice to see you. Well, I don't really see you, I guess, but Pooh Bum. This is an Atasi Cherokee War Club design. It's a replica of a Cherokee design of War Club. It's a custom order for a client who collects primitive weaponry. He's bought quite a bit of stuff from me over the years. I think he's got probably a few dozen items of mine in his collection. I sell a lot of stuff to collectors. You'd be surprised how many people out there have pretty nice collections of stuff. A lot of times the reason collectors of weaponry come to me is I'm pretty good at doing museum item replicas. So if they see a weapon in a museum, obviously you can't buy it from the museum, and even if you could, you couldn't afford it. So they come to me and they send me pictures and dimensions of the museum piece, and I make a replica. I also have made a few pieces for museums. The Hawaii Karate Museum has quite a few of my pieces. That's back from a long time ago. Probably I had a shop in college called Rising Dragons, and I made a bunch of weaponry for the Hawaii Karate Museum. I made some old school replica nunchaku. I made some old school Yawara that were originally, some Yawara originally was made from horse stirrups. Some of them were made from these little backings in pillows. So I would make replicas of old school karate weapons for the Hawaii Karate Museum. Oh, thanks, Pooh Bum. I appreciate that. This one is canary wood. I normally make this style out of hickory, but the client, this is a custom order, and the client requested canary wood, which is, it's a good wood. It's it's a hardwood. It's got just a tiny bit more heft to it than hickory, a little more weight, which he wanted for the war club. So, but yeah, I put a lot of work into my stuff. And I usually do show and tell when I'm done, so I'll go grab some of my other stuff that I've made recently to show you guys. After this, I've got these candy cane weapons behind me that I've got to do. I kind of made those as a joke. Last Christmas, it was right around Christmas time, somebody said I should make some like candy cane style vampire steaks, so I kind of took it as a challenge to do it this Christmas. And when I first had the concept, I thought, man, that's going to be super easy to make. You know, I just bought a couple of cheap wooden canes and painted them. And I thought, man, this is going to be super easy. But I found out that doing those spiraling stripes, not easy, you guys. Not easy at all. Oh my God. Bring one more around and we should be good on this one. Yep. Hey, Giovanni, welcome. All right. Is that good? Tight. Yep. All right. We are right and tight. Tight. There you go. And that's it for my custom orders for this week. Man, I had a lot. I've got a third one I'm still working on. That one is probably not going to get done until January. It's just there's just so much stuff to be done on it. It's a pretty complicated one. It's a rifle stock style war club with it's going to have a dagger or a knife blade embedded in it. All right, let me put this one over here. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, I got to do that rudis as well. Let's see, I think it's over here. But anyway, yeah, I rough shaped it yesterday. But it's gonna have a knife blade right about here, embedded in the wood. It's got a nice big pommel. It's an odd design for a rifle stock club. It's not technically really a rifle stock club. It's just kind of similar to a rifle stock club. This is Hawaiian rosewood, which is dense as shit. It's hard. It's like working with stone, you guys. It's so hard to shape. But he wanted a 1.5 inch thickness, and the only other way to do it was to use hickory and laminate it together, which I don't like using laminate for war clubs. All right. And this one is a Polynesian design of war club. This one's already been sold. It wasn't a custom order, but one of my regular customers saw it on my live yesterday and already claimed it. So this one's already been sold. I should probably put that on the ground so it doesn't cause issues. But this is also Hawaiian rosewood. This is actually a cutoff from that big one you guys just saw. I hate to waste wood, so I looked up some smaller war club designs from like Fiji and Hawaii, and this is the one. How much, largest wood project ever? I can tell you that in a second. How much does this cost? This would be probably about $50 to $60 as it is, because I didn't really do shark teeth or put any adornments on it. With that, it would be a lot more. This one's probably about $50 to $60 in my shop would be what I would sell it for. But like I said, this one's already been claimed, so this one's sold already. A lot of times when a lot of my regular clients come to my lives, and when they see stuff they like, they'll go ahead and message me and tell me, hey, hold on to that for me, I'll buy it. So sometimes stuff sells before I can even get it on the shop, which I'm okay with that. That is a good problem to have. But like that big custom, like that one that I just did, that I just showed you guys, something like that would be closer to like $300, $400. Probably by the time that one's done, it'll be probably around the 300 range. But like it also depends on the wood. Oh, flooring doesn't count. No, I wouldn't. I'm not like gonna say stuff like I'm doing that serving tray, Shozy. That's a pretty big one. I don't know. Do serving trays count? Or are you just talking about weaponry? Because if it's weaponry, I'm trying to think the biggest thing I've ever made. I made a kanabo, a Japanese kanabo club once that was 4 feet long by 2.5 inches wide. Or I think it was 3 inches wide. Actually, yeah, it was 3 inches wide. That thing was a freaking beast. Just project in general, then probably the serving tray that I'm making right now. I just finished it this morning. There's a country club in the area that they're doing an international foods event in like January, and they had a very limited budget, and I'm good at making things that look nice on a small budget. So they came to me and asked me if I would make a serving tray. They only had little under $500 was their budget. So, and I was able to get it done in just under their budget. Their budget, I think, was about $495, and I got it done for $472. So that's going to get delivered on Tuesday. Hey, what's up, Annie? How you doing? A 9-foot arbor? Nice. That's humongous. Yeah, I don't make huge stuff usually. In my day job, I work with larger projects, but we make shelving and things like that for people sometimes. But for the most part, my projects tend to stay under 6 feet. What's everybody up to this morning? If you got any questions, shove them down in the chat. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that jazz. I always forget to tell people. I suck at being a YouTuber, even though because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just a dude with a shop that has a YouTube channel. I have no interest in YouTube being my job at all. That sounds terrible. I have never seen somebody who makes their living with YouTube who has not had some kind of a mental breakdown trying to keep up with that. So I'm good. I'll stick with my 3 jobs and just post my stuff to YouTube. What am I working on? Hey, take it easy, Jacob. Annie, this is a Polynesian War Club out of Hawaiian rosewood. This was made from a cutoff from a larger project that I'm working on. And I hate to waste wood, so it was big enough. I found a Polynesian War Club. They weren't sure which Polynesian culture in the museum it belonged to, but I found a museum piece that kind of fit the dimensions of the piece, and so I shaped it out into a little sidearm war club. Probably would also work as a fish bopper. But this one's already been sold. One of my regular customers has already claimed it, so this one's just going to get handle wrapped and set aside for him until he pays for it. A snake beater or a mallet? I mean, anything's a snake beater if you hit a snake with it, right? And no, it's a war club, but it could work. It could work as a snake beater or a fish bopper there, Mike. It could work for just about anything. It's I think it's funny. People always ask me, they'll come into my lives and they'll be like, is that a weapon? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, technically anything's a weapon. If you try hard enough, you can pretty much make anything a weapon. Just ask the founding fathers of karate. That was their whole bag, was taking things that weren't weapons and turning them into weapons. Did you guys know that some of the early nunchaku was made out of animal bridles for horses and oxen and stuff like that? The bit that went in their mouth was the chain, and then the 2 rods that went on the sides of the head were the handles. And tonfa, for example, tonfa were handles from a grinding mill. And yawara and palm sticks and stuff like that, usually the ones with anchors, came from 2 different things. They used horse stirrups and these little wood backers from these cushions that women used. Yeah, so anything really can become a weapon if you, with enough ingenuity and will. Yes, it is definitely a head knocker. It is. See, it's hard to see on camera, but it tapers on this side into about a 1/2 inch wide part. It's about it's about 1.5 inches wide, and then it tapers to about a 1/2 inch here in the center. What that does is it gives you a much better striking point for cracking bone. Most war clubs are like that. It's funny because I make war clubs for several different cultures, and that seems to be, for wood war clubs, that taper on the edge, on the striking edge, seems to be a pretty universal design to make it better at crack. Someone figured out that the smaller the striking surface on the edge of the club, the better it was at breaking bones. But yeah, definitely a head knocker, right, Micah? Everything's a hammer if you hit the nail with it hard enough. So, but yeah, there we go. Now that one's done. Let's see, I gotta figure out if I've got enough. I got another Rudis trophy sword here. What I need to do is figure out if I've got enough leather. Where did he go? Oh, there it is. Hang on. My jute cord rolled away on me. There we go. I gotta see if I've got enough leather tape left to do the handle on one of these. I thought I just bought some, so I should. Force point small, impact big, for sure. Micah, yeah, the grain definitely will affect what I can make with it. A lot of people don't think about grain configuration. I always think about grain configuration. Like, I'll give you an example. I have a lot of people that they'll come to me and they want curved boken, but I don't make curved boken because I don't steam bend in my shop. And they're like, well, why do you need to steam bend? Just cut a curved boken out of wood. And I'm like, that will not work. I know it seems like it should work, but I'll give you an example. Hang on one second. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So I bought a lot of white ash recently, and one of the boards in there I completely cannot use, and I'll show you why. So if you look, you see how the grain comes across here and across here. If that's happening, every place here is a potential break point. So I cannot make a boken out of this. I can only make smaller stuff out of this. Burl hardwood, I mean, it works well for a club. Burl hardwood should be fine. Yeah. I work with metal sometimes, Annie, not very often. But like, let's say you cut a curved boken. What you'll end up doing as the curve happens, even if you have straight grain, like here's the straight grain on this thing. So let's say I curve the boken, right? So what's going to happen is this grain's going to cross the curve, which means the first time you hit anything with it, it is going to snap. So if you're going to have a curved boken, it needs to be steam bent. For it to be durable, and so that's why I don't make curved boken in my shop. But yeah, burl hardwood would work, like I said, as long as you don't have cross grain, it should be fine. All right, let's see how. Yay, it's all one piece. All right, so I got one side cut already. Got to measure this bad boy out here. This is my super accurate measuring system. I'm going to have to cut that more. Let's see. All right. But yeah, to Shoshi's point earlier, also when you're making a melee weapon out of wood, that's also a very important thing. Is the impact point. You want it to be usually a ½ inch is a great place to have for an impact point. Like on my Yawara, you notice that they were tapered to like not a stabbing point, but to a blunt point. The reason for that is that ½ inch point makes a bigger impact. I don't know what is up with this. I ordered this tape last week and it's caused me some issues. The backing doesn't seem to want to come off of the adhesive. It's taking the adhesive off with it, which is causing me, there we go, some problems. There we are, in there. All right, pro tip. When you're doing a handle wrap, you always want to start, when it's going to be an overlapping handle wrap, you always start from the bottom of the handle and work your way up. Do that. There we go. Get on there. Because otherwise the overlap will be going against the direction of the swing, and it will peel back with your hand over time, which you do not want. All right. Not sure if I got the angle right on that, but we're gonna find out. Well, that's right. The finishing tape will hold it in place. Come on, get on there. There we go. And there we go. Now we got a nice little leather handle wrap. Let me get my finishing tape here. Oh, thanks, Sparkle. I know. So funny story. The people who have been here before, they've already heard this story. But like, I found this shirt like a few weeks ago. I have apparently had this shirt for a long time and had no idea. I was switching backpacks. I had an old backpack for my laptop, and I got a new one. And so I was switching stuff from the old backpack to the new backpack, and I went into one of the pockets. And this shirt was wrapped up in like a plastic bag shoved at the bottom of one of the pockets. I have no idea where it came from. No clue where this shirt came from. I freaking love it, but I have no clue. I don't know if it was a gift. I don't know if I bought it somewhere. I'm hoping I bought it somewhere, because if it was a gift and I forgot, I'm going to feel horrible. Perfect. To the middle. But yeah, dragon reading a book, absolutely. That's why I think I probably bought it, because yeah, if I saw a shirt with a dragon reading a book, I would be like, yeah, that's going to be mine. All right, there we go. Now we have a Rudis trophy sword made out of purple heart. I love purple heart. It's like my favorite wood. But yeah, this has been wet sanded to about 1,000 grit, which is why it's got that mirror glass smooth finish. I sell, these are not for sparring. These are more for collectors and for trophies or as gifts. Oh God, I love Purple Heart, Sparkle. It is one of my favorites. When it's sanded up to 1,000 grit, it just looks so awesome. And then you put a nice little coat of tung oil on it, and you just get that absolutely awesome finish on it. But yeah, so I mostly have two types of people that buy these. The main one is I get people from like SCA, HEMA, Boo Hurt, and sometimes fencing stuff. That when they have tournaments, they'll use this as a trophy. They'll buy this, then they'll go get like a little engraved plaque made, and they'll bolt the plaque to the sword and use it as a trophy. The other people that buy these for me usually are people who they buy them as gifts for guys or girls or anyone who's getting out of the military, because it's Purple Heart. And the Rudis was a sword that was given to gladiators who had won their freedom by fighting in the arena. So people tend to give these to soldiers and Marines, sailors, whoever, airmen, all those types of guys when they get out of the military, as just kind of like a symbol of their freedom of being out of the military. Proc, I got no idea how to read Sanskrit, my guy. Sorry. I haven't had to read Sanskrit since college, so no idea what you're talking about. Sorry, man. Dank history facts. I don't know. Proc's in here spamming the chat with nonsense. Good times. Proc, though, you got about 5 seconds to cut it out before I boot you. So. I've never booted anybody from my chat before, but I will start today. I'd rather not. I try to be nice. I don't want to have to boot and block you, my guy. All right, what else do I got here? So that's the Rudis is done. I've got two Rudii, not Rudises. Rudii is I think that's how the plural works. I've got one out of Purple Heart. I made one out of Padauk. I think it was last week I made one out of Padauk. It looks good. It's not as awesome as the Purple Heart. Like, I don't hate it. It looks awesome, but the Purple Heart just looks so much better. I think I'm going to stick to the Purple Heart moving forward. But I do have one of Padauk that's in there. Padauk's pretty cool. No. It's just a straight up adhesive. On those, I do have a different kind where the adhesive works better. Hang on. With a heat gun, this is more of a faux leather. I have some people, they want faux leather. They don't want real leather. So I have this faux leather stuff. The back doesn't really have adhesive. So when I put it on, what you do is you run a heat gun over it and it shrinks it up and makes it tighten in on itself. So I use that with a heat gun. It also distresses it and makes it look darker. It makes it look like when you heat gun it, it makes it look like more like real leather. I use those mostly on, I make a Raphael Ninja Turtle prop sai that I use those for. You guys want to see those? I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hang on one sec. Let me go. I got a project in the other room that has that on it. I'll show it to you. Let me go grab one. See, like, this is that faux leather that I use when it's been, once it's been hit with the heat gun. It makes it look a lot more like leather, but it's just plastic, you know. These are all rubber. These are Consafe Raphael sai. These are actually on auction right now on my shop because they have a warp in them. And I tried my best to get the warp out. I did everything I could to get the warp out of the rubber, but it just won't come out. So, but yeah, but that faux leather stuff works great with the heat gun, but the regular leather, it's just a straight up adhesive. All right, let me be right back. I got to figure out what we're going to do about these candy canes, guys. The problem I'm having with these candy canes is I gave them a clear coat like 3 days ago of this 1K clear coat stuff, and it's supposed to work really well for like plastics because the stripes on that is actually a plastic wrap, not paint. Because when I tried to paint the stripes, it did not work. It looked horrible, so I had to sand them and repaint them again. And instead of doing painted stripes, I did a plastic wrap of vinyl for the stripes. And then I found a stuff called 1K, which is a clear coat. They use it on vehicles a lot, on cars. And it's supposed to dry within 24 hours. It has now been 72 hours, and these things are still sticky. but I need to handle wrap them and get them on the shop because, you know, Christmas is right around the corner and my window for selling them is swiftly closing. So, you know, it doesn't really make sense to have them listed after Christmas. Yeah, but that's the thing. I have them inside, and I run air scrubbers in my shop where I had them drying, which pulls the humidity out of the air, and it pulls the fumes and everything out of the air. So it should have been, and my shop is temperature controlled, so it was within the limits of temperature that the can said. But for some reason, they're just staying sticky. I cannot figure it out. I mean, they're like probably good to handle. Like they're not so bad that like I'm gonna mar them up if I touch them. But my concern is like I'm gonna clean the shit out of my hands right now because my concern is that like while they're sticky like this, anything that's on my hands is gonna get into the paint and it's not gonna look right. I mean, I'm going to distress them a little bit because I want them to look, you know, I don't want them to look super clean. They need to look somewhat like they've been used. Yeah, I thought about hitting it with my heat gun, just maybe see if that would help. But here's my issue: is these stripes, like I said, are vinyl, and vinyl you don't want to. I don't trust myself enough to make sure I'm using the proper distance on my heat gun, not to melt the vinyl. I could do it at its lowest setting maybe and just keep it at a distance. But no, 1K shouldn't need UV to cure. Matter of fact, it says not to leave it outside to cure. It says to leave it in controlled environmental conditions. So that was what I did. You know what? Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna try something real quick. Yeah, I know. That's my issue there, Sparkle. I'm trying to figure it out myself. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get my heat gun and set it at its lowest setting and see if I ruin it. Oh well, I don't think I will, but. All right, put that in the trash. Forgot the extension cord. We're going to keep this very far away. There we go. See if maybe the heat from this will help dry it out a little bit. Ooh, I think that's working. And actually, you know what? This stuff is heat resistant up to 250 degrees, so I probably can be a little more aggressive with it. I don't think it's up to 250 at this setting. Mostly it's just the shaft I gotta make sure is dry. All right, let's see. You know, it helped a little bit. I think we're just gonna have to call it good and brave the unknown. Dry that shaft. That's right. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Everybody always says like anytime I have issues, it's a spray sealant. And everyone's always like, well, did you shake it enough, dude? I shake. If it says to shake it for 2 minutes, I shake it for 3 minutes. If it says shake it for 1 minute, I shake it for 2 minutes. Like I always make sure I over mix my spray paints. That's the big mistake everybody seems to make with spray paint when they do anything is they don't shake it enough. Because your spray paint, if it's not mixed evenly, you'll end up with a really bad looking job. And of course, my genius ass went with gloss. I probably should have gone with matte, but I felt like gloss would look more like. I felt like gloss would make it look more like an actual candy cane. That's way too high. Yeah. I just want it. Yeah, there. It is still sticky, but we don't got time to wait. So, this is happening. Yeah, the dirt thing will probably mess it up as far as its appearance. But I might use like some talc or something. Talc would probably make it look okay. I see like pieces of this are already stuck in it. Shit. Well, that's all right. They're not supposed to look super pretty. They're supposed to be weapons, so. Yeah, I know. But the dirt idea, I do that. I've done that before with stuff. My main issue with these is I'm trying not to make them look too rough. I want them to look a little rough, but I don't want them to look, like dirty. Because they're basically just supposed to look like somebody, like, sucked the end of a candy cane until it was sharp. And then use it as a weapon. And if they don't sell, I'll turn around and I'll turn around and try to sell them as yard decorations. You can stick them in the ground. Oh, this is going to take a while. I'm starting to wonder if the handle wrap was even worth it, but there's no going back now. Because if I take this handle wrap off, I guarantee you it's just going to have green fibers embedded in the paint. Yeah, Sparkle, last year I actually had a person that has bought some stuff from me. They were like, I know you make vampire steaks. And they had watched an episode of Family Guy, or not Family Guy, American Dad recently, where they were fighting Santa Claus. And they were using, they had like done that where they sucked on the end of a candy cane until it was a point and they used it as a weapon. And they thought that candy cane vampire steaks would be kind of cool. I mean, you could call it Santa Slayer, but last year they didn't give me the idea until like it was almost Christmas already. So I've had it sitting in my idea to-do list since like last Christmas. So I promised myself this year I would get these made. The hard part for me is figuring out what I'm gonna sell, what category I'm gonna sell these in on eBay, because like I don't even, they're not Christmas decorations. They're not really like a horror decoration. They have a weird stuff category on eBay. That may be where these have to end up. There we go. Now I've got room where I can hold the cord while I do this. Well, that crook is going to make this last part a pain in the ass. But yeah, I want to see a St. Nicholas vampire hunter movie. That's what I want to see. Like, that's what Santa does for the rest of the year. Like, on Christmas, he's delivering presents, but the rest of the year, Santa's out hunting the undead with his candy cane steaks. Almost there. Give me like a couple more rounds and we should be good to go. The good news is this handle wrap's definitely not going anywhere. It is in place. The other thing I'm trying to decide if I should sell these as a set or sell them separately. I haven't figured that out either. I think they would be cool as a set, but they would also be more expensive as a set. I could sell them separately and give a discount if you buy both. That may be what I do. Violent Night. No, you know what? That's been on my watch list forever, and I've never watched it. I need to. It looked cool. That's the one with David Harbour from Stranger Things, right? There we go. Santa Slayer Vampire Steak number 1 is down. I've literally just been drilling these things into styrofoam as a way of keeping this from like falling over on me. Because I did not have anything that could hold them very well. Yeah, David Harbour. Yeah, the plays Hopper on Stranger Things. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's a little odd, but I like him. I like odd people. As long as they don't cross the line from odd to creeper, I'm pretty cool with it. And so far, he doesn't seem like he has. So. All right. No idea if these are going to be even. I do not have time to measure, so we're just going to eyeball it. Well, you know what? On second thought, maybe not. Needs to be a little lower. There we go. Close enough. It looks like a little snow castle. Yeah, it was just some styrofoam from something I bought for the shop. I can't even remember what it was. And I couldn't figure out. I was like, man, I do not have anything that can hold a cane, and it didn't really fit well in the baseball bat holder that I've got. So I thought, well, once I sharpen the ends, I can just paint those, let those dry, and then I can stab those down into the holder while I do the paint and let it dry and all that stuff. So far, it's worked out pretty well. And I'm going to have to let them sit, I think, for at least a few more days so that they're not so freaking sticky. I don't know why they are so sticky. Definitely the stickiness is making the wrap way harder to do. They can't really slide and adjust. I should probably put Violent Night in the description or something when I do this. I feel like maybe if someone's doing a cosplay of Violent Night, they would use these. I don't know. I honestly have no idea who these are for. This is one of those things that I just made because somebody mentioned it to me and I thought it was a cool idea. I know it's probably not the best business model, but sometimes I just make shit because somebody gave me an idea or I had an idea and I wanted to see if I could do it. I don't have a customer for these at all. There's this one kid, I think his name's Cayman. He's been on my lives a lot. He's been super interested in the candy cane steaks. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks though, so maybe he'll show up today and he can finally see them. He's been wanting to see the finished ones for a while. Yeah, I would think probably, you know, even if they sold, you know, like in a day or two, you know, they'd still be okay. And I'll wrap them in bubble wrap and stuff. That shouldn't cause any issues. I don't think they will stay sticky forever. God, I hope not. If they do, we're going to have to figure that out. But if they do, like I said, the talc may be the way to go. To just get some like very, very fine talc powder and just rub it into it a little bit to kind of take the stickiness out of it. But not sure. There we go. Finally. Now I can hold the... But yeah, there's definitely going to be a few dirty fingerprints in these, but I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. Like I said, they're supposed to be weapons, so they're not going... You're not going to expect them to look clean. To be honest, what I might do is take some ashes, some white ashes. I've got a bag of ashes that I use for distressing sometimes. I may do that to kind of just purposely dirty them up. I don't know. I don't know how dirty is too dirty for these. Sparkle, have I ever made a bow staff that can screw together? No, I don't do those. I've actually had a few customers come to me to ask if I make those. I don't, but you can buy those fairly easily. Like they mass produce those. They're not hard to come by. Doing it handmade, trying to make sure that it's done in a way where you can, because you need to be able to take that apart and put it back together, you know, regularly. And it needs to be able to maintain its straightness without a warp and without warping. And that's difficult to do with a bow staff that comes apart. So I tend to stay away from stuff like that. If it's for a prop or something, I might do it. But not for, if it's going to be used for kata or demonstrations or martial arts practice, I don't do it. Yeah, it did not work. Yeah. It sounds, it sounds easy. But you know what, like if you look at like those pool cues, for example, where that do that, like those are made to exact specifications. One more round and I think we're good. Yeah, one more. Here we go. One more. There we go. Oh, shit. God damn it. Well, that's not good, people. Houston, we have a problem. All right. Let's see if I can. Fuck. That's not good. Hang on. I'm going to try to fix this. I think this is still fixable. I have to undo more. All right. We were so close. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. You know what? The stickiness honestly may even work for it because candy canes are supposed to be sticky. So the fact that it looks like there's sticky stuff stuck to it kind of works with the aesthetic. At least that's what I'm going to say. If you can fix it with duct tape, you aren't using enough duct tape. Yeah, we're right. Hey, Kit Kats, welcome back. Yeah, they may not find me handsome, but they will find me handy for sure. I may not be easy to look at, but I am easy to work with. All right, let's do this again and try not to break the cord this time. Everything's going to be slightly shorter now because I had to cut a few things, but I think this is going to work. Can I go around one more? Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, there we go. All right. Thank goodness I cut It's one of the reasons I cut my ends long, because stuff like that happens and you suddenly don't have enough leeway to finish. All right. Woot, woot. Well, they're not as pretty as I had hoped, but I don't know that pretty is what we want. I think maybe this is going to be what Bob Ross would call a happy little accident. Because I think these are going to look... These are going to look more like actual candy canes that can be used for the stabby stabby. Shit, cops, you gotta go. Who's very handsome? You guys aren't talking about me. But yeah, there we go. You got a couple of candy cane steaks for old Saint Nick. The old Saint Nick, or as I like to call him, Odin 2.0. Because let's be honest, Santa Claus is honestly just Odin. I told my son that once, and he asked me what the hell I was talking about. He was probably about 9 or 10 years old. And that was as I gave him a lecture on the Christianization of pagan cultures. I could see it in his face that he's like, I will never, ever ask my father a question like this ever again. It's what happens when your dad's a mythologist. You ask a question like that, you're going to get a very long answer. All of Bob Ross's paintings are where he buried the bodies. That's awesome, Kit Kats. You know, I don't know, man. Bob Ross, he could have been a serial killer, but I like to think he was just a happy guy who liked to make paintings. Santa is based off amanita mushrooms. How's that work, Shozy? Oh, well, that's, holy crap. Is that all? Are those, I'm not sure. Is that all my projects? Hang on. All right, let me make sure I got everything. I got the 2 steaks, the Rudis, all the war clubs are done. All the palm steaks are done. Candy cane steaks are done. I don't know why I feel like I'm forgetting something. That's never a good sign. I finished the serving tray this morning. Let's see. So I have this little bag of ashes and bone shards. It's not what it sounds like. I use this to, what I use this for, it's ground up bone and ashes. And I mix this with red paint to create my fake blood whenever I put blood effects on props. Because what it does is it puts bubbles and kind of like debris in the blood, so it looks more like coagulated blood instead of just red paint. He was a drill sergeant, never wanted to yell again, took up painting. That makes sense. As a former Marine, I can absolutely understand how drill instructors would probably never want to yell again, because they yell a lot. They yell all the time. That's like their go-to. It's like their default status. What do you guys think? Should I try rubbing some of this into the candy canes, or do you think that's going to mess them up? Do you think they'll look better dirty, or do you think they'll look worse dirty? I'm feeling very indecisive about this because there's no going back. Like, I can't undo this once I do it. Give me your opinions, folks. I need them. I don't know, because these are still sticky. If I rub the ashes into them, reindeer eat mushrooms, takes toxicity out of them. Dudes eat reindeer pee and trip. Use the ash sparkle. All right. I respect the confidence, Sparkle. I will. Hopefully, it's going to pay off. Let's see. That's why I leaned it up against that, so that doesn't fall. Oh, actually, that, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I don't. Oh, that's perfect, actually. I am cool with it. And it's taking the stickiness out of it. And it's making it look a little dirty. Matter of fact, I'm going to use a little bit more of the ashes. I think I can go a little more liberal with it. Ash me up, woman. Your groundskeeper Willie voice. Oh, that's right, Shozy. You're over in Scotland, right? I know this probably looks a little obscene right now. I apologize for what's happening. If you've just come into the live, I apologize for what you're looking at. It's not what it looks like, I promise. We're just distressing some candy cane vampire steaks, which I know also is probably a very confusing statement. But I promise, just don't leave, please. Hey, what's up, Dave? Hey, Dave, I promise this isn't what it looks like. Okay, it might be what it looks like. I don't know. If it looks like I'm stroking a candy cane, then that's definitely what's happening. These candy canes are still a little sticky, and we're trying to distress them and take the stickiness out of them. And I had the idea of using some of my ashes that I use to texture up my fake blood. And yeah, it's doing it. I'm cool with it. Woot woot. The stickiness has been removed, and the candy canes are distressed. And I have ashes and bone shard and ground up bone all over my seat. I made a mess just now. But that's all right. That's what my shop is for. That's why I don't do this at home. No, it's not my grand. No, Dave, I promise. It's ashes from my fire pit mixed with some ground up deer bone shards. I make bone knife atame daggers in my shop out of deer bone, and so I have to cut off the ends of the end of each deer bone when I do it. So I use those shards, and what I do is I grind the shards up into almost a powder. I leave a little bit of bone pieces, and then I mix that with some white ashes. I try to get white ashes from my fire pit with a little bit of gray, and I mix that together with this, and then when I'm making fake blood, like doing blood effects on a prop, what I will do is I will mix this into a small amount of red paint, and then I will wipe that on. And what it does is it makes the paint darker, and it makes it look more like coagulated blood because it makes bubbles in it, and it gives a little rough texture, so it looks more like actual blood. Yeah, Shozy, I believe, is Scottish. Oh, you're a pasty Midwesterner. Is it Kit Kats? You're the one from Scotland, right? I think Kit Kats there is from Scotland. She's a wee lass from Scotland. My Scottish is terrible. My Scottish accent's terrible. My Irish is better. My family is, it's funny. My family's Irish, Scottish, English, Dutch, and German, right? That's what I was told my entire life. In that order, I was told. We are Scottish, Irish, English, Dutch, and German. They put German at the end of the list, right? So my whole life, I was told I was primarily Scottish and Irish. My family celebrated stuff like we were Scottish and Irish. We had kilts. We had a family tartan. I was told about the Macmillan clan, which was our family back in Scotland that where we were related to. I was told about the Smithsons in Ireland, who were our Irish ancestors, right? I was told about the Nidays, who were our German ancestors, but they made it sound like we were primarily Irish and Scottish. And it wasn't until I was in like my 30s that it was revealed to me that we are like 75% German. Like we are mostly German. We're like a quarter Scottish and a quarter Irish, and everything else is German. The reason my family told everybody we were Scottish and Irish was because after World War II, there was a bit of an issue, obviously, or during and after and before World War II, there was an issue with Germans in the United States. I don't know if you guys heard about World War II or not, but they had some issues with Germans. So my family decided we were only a tiny bit German. We were mostly Irish and Scottish. So that's what they told everybody, because they were living in the South at the time, and they told everybody that we were Scottish and Irish, which was fine. We had just a little bit of German. Oh, Sparkle, you're in Texas? Where in Texas are you? Anywhere? I'm from, I spent a lot of time in the DFW area. Actually, I'm gonna be in Texas later this month. I'm gonna be there from like December 20th to like the 30th or something like that. Oh, Houston, yeah, you're way down south. Yeah, Shozy, there was this whole thing in the 30s and 40s with the Germans. You should look it up. It was nuts. They did some weird, they did some bad shit, the Germans, in the 30s and 40s. They definitely did some bad stuff. So my family decided to pretend, which I find hilarious, because that is the most, if you know my family and my family's background, my family were Irish coal miners and German coal miners in West Virginia. They came over here from Ireland, Scotland, and Germany. The Smithsons, which are my Irish ancestors, came over, and they landed in New York at Ellis Island, and half of the family stayed, and half of the family went south to work in coal mines. The coal miners are my ancestors. The family that stayed in New York, who were the smart ones, ended up founding the Smithsonian Institute. So of course, I'm descended from the fucking morons. I'm not descended from the part of the family that branched off and founded the Smithsonian Institute. That would be amazing. But I find it so funny that my family decided to pretend to be primarily Irish and Scottish and not German. And then I get a DNA test in my 30s and find out I am probably a little over 50% German. German, Austrian, like upper West Germanic blooded, Icelandic, and then I have about 25% Irish Scottish, Gaelic blood. Yeah, my Uncle Smitty, it's funny because my Uncle Smitty, who was my grandmother's brother, he was technically my great uncle. He went to Scotland and Germany, and like he did a whole like European like trip back in like the 50s and 60s. After he came back from the war to do our family lineage. And I find it funny that he did that, and yet my family still raised me to believe I was mostly Irish and Scottish. And in fact, I am. I mean, I still have Irish, I'm about half Irish Scottish, but I'm mostly German. What's funny is that I was never taught anything about my family's German roots, ever. I was not taught anything about German culture. I wasn't taught anything. I was taught tons of shit about Irish and Scottish culture. My granny, I shit you not, my granny, who is a Nide, who are the German part of our family, my granny committed to the bit so much that she used to tell me like Irish, Scottish, like bedtime fae stories. Like she would tell me about like the Banshee and the fae folk and brownies, and like she told me about the Great Fairy War, and like she would tell me about fairy rings and fairy windows and like stuff like that, and you know, she taught me about the power of names and stuff with fae folk. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, lady? Like she committed to the bit so much that she told me Gaelic like fairy tales as a kid so that I would not think I was German. Damn, Sparkle. Hey, take it easy, Dave. Thanks for hanging out with me. Well, you guys, I think I'm done with my projects. Do you guys want any show and tell this morning, or should we just call it? I can show you one thing I'm working on. So I got this dagger blade, right? because I have this custom order that the guy wants this really big Indian war club that it's a museum replica piece. He found it in a museum, but he doesn't want to pay museum prices, so he came to me. So I'm making this bad boy out of Hawaiian rosewood. And he sent me the photo, and the photo originally had like 2 Green River style blades sticking out. And he said, I don't want that though, I want 1 dagger blade. So I got a dagger blank that I was planning to embed into the club, right? And yesterday he messages me and he's like, I changed my mind, I don't want the dagger anymore, I want the Green River style blade, but I just want 1. So I gotta figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do with this thing. I'll probably make something out of that later. So I ordered the Green River knife, but it's not gonna be here until December 16th, and my shop closes the day after that, so this is not gonna get done until after Christmas. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, definitely in the southern United States too, because in the South, man, people, they love their prejudices in the South, and being either Japanese or German in the 30s, 40s, and even into the 50s wasn't great in the South. So I understand why they did it, you know. And as someone who grew up in a good chunk of my childhood, I was in Southern California in a very Asian area, and a lot of my friends were Japanese, and a lot of their parents were Japanese Americans who grew up during, you know, the internment camps and all that stuff. You know, I can absolutely understand why they would pretend to not be German. I get it. But the fact that I wasn't born until 1977, you guys, the war was fucking over, all right? The war was over in 1977. There was no reason for my family to continue pretending that we were not German. But man, they committed to that shit like it was crazy. So, but yeah, so he's going to get this after Christmas, which is fine. Honestly, I have so much stuff to do between now and the 17th that not having to do this custom actually worked out pretty well. So, oh, I know, Shozy, it's nuts. Like the rampant racism in the South was just, and you got to think this also was like the 30s to the 60s and 70s. You know, it ran deep in that time period. My family, I was not raised in a family with racism. Like, I wasn't. Now, that being said, like, I had grandparents who grew up in the South, and they would say things and I would have to explain to them were racist. A lot of times it turned out they didn't know they were racist, but they would keep on saying them, and I'm like, maybe stop saying them now that you know that they're racist. So, you know, but yeah, it was definitely a thing. Still is, to be honest with you, but we've gotten a little better. I would not say that racism has ended in the U.S. at all. It's still out there. We've made some steps forward, but not a lot. Yeah, racism never has made sense to me at all. I don't really get it. Growing up in Texas, I don't know if I should tell you guys this. I was a bit of a rambunctious teenager. I ended up in military school because I was so absolutely unmanageable as a kid. But in my teens, a friend and I won't name my friend because I don't want to out him, but a friend and I used to love to, like, there were these skinheads that would, like, walk through downtown Dallas in the Deep Ellum area. And this buddy and I, my buddy, by the way, is like a 6'7", 375 pound African-American guy. And we used to walk around looking for skinheads to beat up. And we did. We whipped the shit out of so many skinheads back in the day. It was awesome. It was like our favorite pastime. We finally had to stop, though, because the cops in Deep Ellum, they kind of got wise to what we were doing. But no, it was a good time beating up a bunch of wannabe Nazis in high school. That was fun. Because we were like 17, 18 at the time. So like Deep Ellum is like it's like a night you know, it's like a nightlife area. So like, it's mostly like nightclubs and tattoo parlors where you got to be like eight. I mean, we would get in the tattoo parlors when we were 18, but you couldn't get into the nightclubs. So a lot of them in Deep Ellum, most of them were 21 and up. So like, there weren't a lot of things we could actually do in Deep Ellum. So we would just go down there and troll for Nazis to beat up, which was awesome. We really enjoyed it. It was a good time. Yeah, Nazi, nothing pisses me off more than fucking Nazi punks. They can eat a dick. They can eat a dick then, they can eat a dick now. All right, you guys, I got time for a little bit of show and tell. I don't know if there's anything like new for me to really show off that I didn't already show earlier whenever I was doing the live. I don't know. Does anybody have any suggestions on stuff they would like to see for show and tell today? I've got war clubs, Yawara, wooden daggers. I've got museum replicas. I've got props. I've got all the vampire hunter stakes you can possibly imagine. I've got zombie apocalypse baseball bats. You want to see them nips? Oh, Shozy. Shozy. Oh my God, that's funny. Let me see them nips. Show us your tits. Oh, that's funny. That's my first show us your tits comment. Thank you. Thank you, Shozy. I feel so blessed. I feel like I feel so flattered that someone asked to see my boobs. That's wonderful. It makes me so happy. Oh my God. All right, well, I'm not going to show you my nips, but let me go find something else to show. Sorry, I got a little tickled by that. That's hilarious. Oh my God. All right, hang on, I'll be right back. I may have grabbed too much stuff. Hang on. All right, so this is for the new people. If you've been to my lives before, you've already seen this. I make custom zombie apocalypse baseball bats. This one I call the no-brainer. This is an axe bat with a table saw blade embedded into it. This started out as a custom order. I had a guy, he wanted a axe bat from a video game called Days Gone. He wanted a functional version of that, so I made that for him. This was my proof of concept. A lot of times when I have custom orders for things I haven't done before, I'll make a second one first. I make a proof of concept first, so that I hang on to and sell in the shop. So this is the proof of concept. His didn't have the paint job. His is just bare wood that was distressed, and it had just an athletic tape handle wrap. I know, that's why I call it the no-brainer, because I feel like that was perfect for a zombie weapon. And I was testing out, this is my first time doing a reverse stencil, so I wanted, because I really thought that would help the letters kind of pop. So yeah, the reverse stencil on that one came out awesome for my first go. And then we were talking about the bone pieces earlier. This is one of the bone atame that I make out of deer bone. Originally, I used to polish and bleach and all that stuff, these. But with the Wiccan, I had some Wiccan people tell me that you really shouldn't bleach them because they want all natural materials. They don't want any chemicals in an atame. It needs to be completely attached to the earth. So I use natural jute cord and that uses a natural dye. And I use no bleach, no chemicals, so that it's... Because an atame dagger is mostly for ritual purposes. It's not meant... You should never shed blood with one, so... Smacking a watermelon with that bat. So yeah, I actually already did that. And I back then I wasn't really doing YouTube videos or anything. I probably should have made a video. I'm terrible about taking pictures and videos and stuff. But yeah, I definitely should. I definitely should do a video of me using it. It's on sale on the shop right now, by the way. It's 15% off right now. It's normally 150. I think right now it's going for about 125. And this is the Padauk Rudis trophy sword that I made last week. It's this Padauk changes color over time. It goes from bright orange to dark. This piece of Padauk is a couple years old, so it's already started to change color into slightly dark, but it's still fairly orange. So that's going to turn, it'll turn until it's almost like a purplish, brownish orange. It's a weird color it finally gets to. It's cool though. But yeah, I should do that. I absolutely should do that, Sparkle. And this is a museum replica piece. I showed this yesterday too. This is called a pahoa. It's a Hawaiian stabbing implement made from wood. This is probably my favorite design for a wood stabbing implement. I have impact tested these, like I impact test everything. This is Kamaru wood. It has a Janka hardness of 3,700 pound force, which is insane. But I have stabbied with this, and the tips took almost no damage. It was just nuts for a wood stabbing implement. I have several different pahoa on the shop of different lengths. I think this particular one, I think, is about 12 inches. I've got one that's 12.5, one that's 13. Because of the design, it's hard to get these exactly the same length, because trying to get that conical tip perfectly symmetrical by hand is very difficult. But if you're looking for a stabby made of wood, this one is my favorite. And then you've got, this is also a stabby made of wood. This is the Assassin Stiletto. This is, believe it or not, this is fashioned after a wooden stiletto that they believed was, they're not entirely sure, but they believed was used by the Hasansins, also known as the Assassins, or Hashishins back in the day, depending on which historian you believe. These were used as one-and-done assassination weapons. They would use an extremely durable hardwood like Kamaru, or they would use ebony, or they would use, you know, any kind of extremely hard wood to make a stabbing stiletto. This could then be used to get it done, get it up under the ribs, into the heart. It's a very good length for that. And then you could pull it out, get out of the area, and all you had to do was find a fire and toss this in, and it would burn up. And then you were free of the evidence of your murder weapon. So yeah, the assassins of old used these. And for some reason, the knot on this is coming loose, which does not make me happy. And I have to figure out how to fix that. Well, I may have to wrap that one. I'm not sure why the knot came loose on it. I think I may have cut it a little too short. But that's okay. That's a fixable issue. And it's got a little wrist tether on the bottom. So, but yeah, big fan of the Assassins. They were an interesting group, the Hasansins. The whole thing with the whether they're Hasansins or Hashishins is, you got to remember, most of the stuff we know about the original assassin cult was written by Europeans and Westerners. And a lot of times Europeans and Westerners in that time period, like around the time of Marco Polo, they would they added a lot of embellishments to their stuff. And so they claimed that the Hashishans would smoke like hash or hashish before they would go on missions, which doesn't really track. I don't know that you want to be smoking something that's going to make you loopy when you're about to go on a murder mission. I feel like you kind of want to be a little sharper than that. So, but the other school of thought, the guy that they referred to as the old man, who was the leader of the cult, was named Hassan. That's the only name we know that he had. And so Hassansin was also a thing that they were called. Hassansin transliterates over to assassin far better than Hashishin translates over to assassin. So a lot of people think that they kind of made up the hashish part, because there's really no evidence that that actually happened aside from what's written by Westerners. And as we all know, Westerners, especially the kind that explore other cultures back in the day, were kind of liars. But all right, folks, that's about all I've got for today. I think I'm gonna call it. I was in the shop until super late yesterday. I'm gonna go home. I gotta order groceries, do laundry, post all this stuff to the shop. It's gonna be a busy day. So I gotta go do my adult stuff. But as always, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Everything you've seen here will be on the shop by this afternoon if it's not already on the shop. You can go to Warrior Wood and Props on eBay. Link is in my bio. Don't go to warriorwoodandprops.com right now. It's just not functional. Shopify has really screwed up my store, and I don't know what they did, and I can't get a hold of a human being to help me. I can't even cancel my subscription. So I've been trying to cancel my store for like 2 months, and I can't get a hold of a human being to fucking do it. So anyway, don't go to warriorwoodandprops.com. Just go to eBay. Hey, take it easy. Shozy, Sparkle, thanks for hanging out with me. Everybody who came back, Kit Kats, all you guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will be back next Saturday. Next Saturday will probably be my last Saturday standing, and Sunday finishing work next weekend will probably be my last one until I take a break for the holidays. So come hang out with me next weekend. I'm gonna do the final push for the holiday season, and my shop will be closed from December 17th to the 31st, and I will officially be on holiday for that period. So I'll be on holiday for the holidays, but I'll be back probably towards the end of September. Well, as always, yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Go check out the shop. You telling everybody about the haggis? Haggis. I believe that most Scottish cuisine was invented on a dare. All right, you guys, take it easy. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next weekend.